smooth, smooth. Smoking till the wings are gone. Listen, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the gun's gone. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. Down. We only soak up on the higher strings. Young just on we call it a day. And when I get the merch, you show me feel mindset. We only put on the indica cause we love it, you know. And when it's when you're on the scene, running up the road, up the place up on the green. Suck up on the mountain, we suck up on the rooftop. Chico, California, Colorado, Utah. So wherever you are, just blaze it. The music keeps you embracing. So wherever you are, just blaze it. Don't leave it. What you pick up, take it down. And blaze it up to a higher elevation. Famous jazzy jazz now. We smoking up to a higher elevation. World famous jazzy jazz. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the winds are gone. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. Yes, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the gun's gone. Yes, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. My marijuana, siempre cause I wanna. Them rosters call it gas. I'm the eyes, my sunshine bright. On a double dark night, I think I just might take the right amount, about an ounce of my great trees. My Lord, say please, let me breathe. Got me coughing out, and I'm feeling a little better, so we eat Chinese. And I take another hit, blowing out like a breeze. Looking like I'm going through the streets. The bush on fire, say burn the slave driver. On fire, say burn the slave driver. If you come around, we got the best green ganja. High green trees, my Lord, say please. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. That's that way, and I gotta smoke to survive. But nothing try to let it lock, you know I'm in the mind. So let USO the beat, you know it's also for the ride. Tree of rotation, now let it go for let it vibe. Now let it go for let it vibe with the spiritual side of it. My ancestors for the land, telling me to the credit. So I got the moves like how we go, they secure. Slowly lift the bob, and you know it's a bad. Cause I nothing good, I let it if you lick the mind. I got skip herbal change just for me to enjoy. If the only one that more time me, I don't ready to the sky. I'm the fan with the wind. Roll it up and let it fly, man, it's on the side. It's the body, it's the bread, and it goes down, I'm on that. I'm on that, it's so good. I'm fine, the good vibes, it's the real outside. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Until the wings are gone. Sexy, smooth, smooth, smooth. All day and all night long. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the gun's gone. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. All day and all night long. Down, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking till the wings are gone. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth. Smoking all day and all night long. Listen, smooth, smooth, smooth.
All right, all right. What's up, guys?
What's good?
Hey, man, we are back. We're back in Chico. Had a wonderful weekend last weekend. Shout out to Vibes and Smiles, Pacific Islands Together, and San Diego County Fairgrounds for, the opportunity to get on stage, perform live after a year and some change. And also just to come together and celebrate Pacific Islands Day. And this is like special shout out to any Pacific Islanders who are in California and can make it to next year's Pacific Islands Day. But I spoke with Ruth. She was one of the coordinators from Pacific Islands Together. And she had mentioned that there is very little representation of all the other Pacific Islands. All right. She said mostly Samoans and Tongans, and they're opening the door and they want anybody who is willing and passionate about representing to come to meet up and just vibe together and come out and show out for your island nation, wherever that may be in Oceania. So if you guys are interested, go follow Pacific Islands Together on IG for more information on upcoming events. Shout out to Sister Ruth. Shout out to Amanda from Vibes and Smiles for putting in a good word. Also, shout out to Maya Ito and Kaningir Amat of Hela Palawan, also for sending the Ruth's contacts our way so we can link up with her. Yes, it's all about networking. And without further ado, we would like to officially open up the green room and invite our brother onto the show. Tuning in live. And you guys already know what time it is. It is TTalks with your girl Keeks. Yes. And we're back. All right, fams. Let's come together and welcome our brother, Wizz Fiyah!
Yes,
What's
sir.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, family?
What's good? Shout out to everybody tuning in.
Shout out to all the fams tuning in. And
Yes,
wherever
sir.
you're at, make sure you drop it in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, so we can shout you out. If you have
What city?
questions,
City, state, or village.
Yeah, village.
We out
Yes.
here.
Right.
I know, we're blessed and honored to have you here. You know what I'm saying? So to all people out there, this is the man behind the plan. You know what I'm saying? This is the big homie Wiz.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
we're gonna
man.
let him, you know what I'm saying, let y'all know more about him. You know what I'm saying? And what he's been in the game, you know what I'm saying, for a minute too. So you know what comes with experience, man. Nothing but greatness.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
man.
And not to mention a jack of all trades, artist,
You know it.
chef, musician, music producer, tattoo artist,
Man.
you name it all.
I mean, he plays in 2 bands.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You want me to build you a house? I could do that too.
Yes. And he'd be serving that gourmet island style comfort food, y'all. So,
Y'all
man,
know, check it.
where do we start? Why don't you take it off or pick up from here and start wherever you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, greetings in the name of the Most High Jah, Ali, Talofa, Aloha, Malo Lele to everyone who's tuning in right now, to all my island people and all my non-island people. You're island at heart, so I feel very blessed and honored to be on the TTalks show tonight. And so thank you guys for having me on.
Show.
Yeah.
Thank you for making time always.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's 4:20, so we want to light one up. It's 4:20 somewhere, huh?
It is.
Somewhere.
If it's 4:20 where you're at, drop some flames. Drop that emoji with smoke out the nose.
Dread movement. Not for sure. So,
Hey, shout out Brittany Latimer.
what's up, Brittany?
Brittany from Boise, Idaho in the building.
Yeah. I know I'll be seeing her on the show. So shout out to Brittany.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, tell our viewers tonight, a little bit about yourself, who you are,
Backstory.
Yeah.
who
So
you came from, or where your roots.
yeah, so originally born in the island of Oahu, so I'm from Hawaii. But I'm raised in California, so we left Hawaii. I was about 6 years old, and the first place we landed was San Jose. So,
Yay! Shout out San
yeah.
Jose.
So we landed in the Bay Area, and then we hopped around a few different cities in the Bay, and ended up living in Long Beach, and then I moved up north for high school, and that's really where my music journey began. But we grew up playing in my mom's a gospel singer, so we grew up playing the family band thing, and when I got into high school, it's really where I met a lot of friends who were doing hip hop. And at the time, for my elective in high school, I took Photoshop.
Nice.
So yeah. So I had a few friends who were like dropping mixtapes, and that's kind of like how I got into music. Um, my friends, they were like, "Hey, you're in Photoshop. Like, you think you could make us an album cover?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, definitely." So that's kind of like what started my musical journey. Was in high school, and then right after high school, um, I moved back to LA, and I was doing some stuff with a few different hip hop groups. And I'm just trying to give you guys like long story short. But
Yeah,
so
you
yeah.
gotta
So
you gotta make sure to cover the hip hop story.
yeah. So
About that.
yeah. So I was working with a bunch of cats back in the day out here up north, and they were all tied in with the Sickness Network, who was from Sacramento. If anyone knows who that is, like Brother Lynch Hung, Seymour, all those guys, right? All Sacramento legends.
Ooh,
And so that's kind of like how I got my foot into the hip hop industry. And then my brother, he always did hip hop, and so I would always produce and make beats for my brother. That eventually landed us a deal with Bone Thugs and Harmony, and then that's when things really like took off. But I always knew I was gonna play reggae, but I was gonna play reggae music. That
first
was
love.
it. Yeah, my first love.
When it came to
Individually, I was gonna play reggae, but so I was in the hip hop industry for a while. Right around the time where we hooked up with Bone Thugs was around the Strength and Loyalty album. That was with the hit single with Akon.
Right.
So yeah, we were there for a lot of those recordings.
That's
And
crazy.
so the funny story, what got us hooked up with Bone was ganja. We happened to be hanging out with one of our very good friends. Her name is Lucy. She's Lazy Bone's personal assistant till this day.
What?
So yeah, like we had just finished like recording my brother and his group's EP, and I had just became a new father, so the twins were like 3 months old at the time, and so we're hanging out, in West Hollywood. Will I Am from Black Eyed Peas is the neighbor, right? And so we're just we're hanging out, and my friend Lucy's playing our CD, and her sister comes over because she's at the studio with Bone Thugs. And she comes over and she's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get some weed for the boys back at the studio." And us, we always got weeds. So she asked us, she's like, "Hey, my sister's looking for some weeds for her friends. Do you guys got any?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we got a bunch of weed." So I go to get the weed. Our CD's playing in the background, and she's asking my friend Lucy, she's like, "Hey, how did you get these recordings? Like, they're not released, Well, she was saying that my brother and his group, they sounded very similar to Bone. Yeah, and so
Bone.
yeah, and so that started a whole conversation. She's like, "Oh, well, I'm hanging out with Bone Thugs right now," and I'm like, "Oh shit, this weed's for Bone." Right, so we were gonna charge her like 200 for an ounce, But once she said Bone Thugs, we were like, "Oh no, just take it." Yeah, no worries, just take it. And that literally got us in the door with Bone Thugs. I guess they smoked that weed, and they were like, "Yo, where'd you get this from?" Our homegirl was like, "Oh, my boy Wiz and his brother High Tone." And next thing you know, we're on tour, the Strength and Loyalty tour with Bone Thugs and Harmony. And until this day, we're still artists on Seven Sign and CNO.
Signs.
I'm not active on Seven Sign because I'm doing the reggae thing, but I want to be the first Seven Sign artist who drops a reggae album under Busy Bone.
That's gotta be.
Yeah. So that's a little brief history on the music. But yeah, as of right now, I'm currently playing with two bands. I'm playing with Triple from Chico, California, and I'm also playing with my other band, Ross Rebellion, and they're out of Monterey County.
Mm-hmm. Ross
Yes,
Rebellion.
yeah. So we're doing big things in a small way.
You definitely
Yeah.
things. You know what I'm
And
saying?
shout out to
Changing the
you
game.
and Triple Tree and Ross Rebellion, because guys, it's part of that graduation giveaway.
Make sure.
You know, if you're in kindergarten or you're graduating from Head Start, what we call back on the island, middle school, high school, or college, you know, and you love to do art, whether it's a full passion or, you know, on the side, send us something. And we got details about that on our IG. But back to you, bro.
Yeah. So we just been playing music. We got some cool things happening for both bands. But this weekend we'll be in San Juan Batista, playing with the Expendables.
Hey.
Yeah. So that's huge. So yeah, just look out for Ross Rebellion and look out for Triple Tree. We out here.
That's it. Make it move. So coming to see this new.
Yeah.
What was your first tell that music was for you? You were like, oh man, this is what I'm gonna do, like pursue.
So I'd have to say I really knew that I was gonna pursue music as a career when I was probably like around 10 years old.
Oh,
like I said, I grew up in the family band, playing with my mom and my brothers, and just playing a lot of those shows. You know, granted, like I was playing mom's music, you know, and so mom was like, "No, you got to do it like this. You got to play it right." You know, and
there's a game plan.
So yeah, really, you know, and mom's was always like, you know, you guys can do whatever you want in life. You can become a doctor, a lawyer, but you're gonna play music. You know? So yeah, you know, a lot of us Islanders, a lot of us are like very sports oriented. Like a lot of us are playing sports, and so my family was all into sports, but me and my brothers, we were never like, we wanted to play sports, but my mom never really allowed us. She's like, how can you guys go play sports when you got to practice music?
Yeah, you got to rehearse.
Yeah, like you don't have time for that. You have to learn how to play the drums. You have to play the guitar, play the bass, you know. And my mom's a piano player. Well, she plays everything, you know. My mom's great at everything. But yeah, mom's is a G. So I really owe my musical career and knowledge to moms, you know.
Training and knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. But yeah, and then so like when me and my brother was doing music, like I said, we were doing things with Bone Thugs and Harmony, and then we met a guy named Steve Sherms who is one of the activists for Prop 215. If those of you who are watching who don't know what Proposition 215 is, it's the act to legalize medical marijuana in California. Mm-hmm. And so we got linked up with High Times Magazine and Skunk Magazine back in those days. And we're doing a lot of cannabis events. And really that's where it changed my mind on cannabis, because I was just smoking to get high and be cool with my friends. But once we started going to these events, I started gaining knowledge about the plant and what it could do for us medically and medicinally, you know. And so that's when Wizz Fiyah really became like an activist and a user of medicinal, you know. And so, yeah, we just been pushing that movement. I still use cannabis to this day. It's probably something that I'll never stop using.
Just to be clear.
You know, yeah, you know, so like as the Rastaman say, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, Rastaman refuse it, you know. So,
yeah, exactly.
I believe in the good plant and what it does for us. Yeah, so music and ganja has gotten me a lot of places, and very blessed and thankful for everything that has happened in my short life, you know.
Dang. It's been good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Mm-hmm.
For real, because like that's another thing that cannabis has a lot of. Even though it's such a positive plant, it has a lot of negative view because there's a lot of people that don't smoke that have
Right.
a lot of opinions about it, so they have experienced it too.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy.
And-
Like growing up, they would tell you this is not. You know what I'm saying? You can't touch it because you'll be nothing. You grow up, and it's crazy.
Right.
Like here we are, like still smoking it, and I'm like, I'm still trying to find, you know what I'm saying, what was wrong with this thing. Like,
Yeah. And you know, like
hard on
our parents and a lot of their generation, they were brought up, taught that, you know, no, you don't do that. You know, that's bad for you. And the government would really push that, like, oh, you smoke a marijuana cigarette, you're gonna go crazy, like you know what I mean. So like now that, you know, we're in this generation of time where you can learn anything on the internet pretty much. The knowledge is there. So
Do your research.
so our generation and the younger generations, they're starting to realize that, hey, the government was lying to us, you know, like they're trying to hold something that could save us, like, you know, not just cannabis but hemp alone. Like we don't need to be cutting down rainforests and stuff like that. Like we can grow hemp and use that to make clothes,
so many
paper, fuel, you know, all these things that the government is literally just saying, nope, we know you guys can make money off of this, so nope, we're gonna put an X on it, and you're just gonna buy from us.
Exactly.
You know,
you got all the resources on Earth, but no, you can't use that. You gotta. We're the suppliers.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. So just the cannabis industry alone has really changed me and molded me as the musician that I am, you know. And I really believe in the plant, and it goes great with my music, and my music goes great with cannabis. Yeah, man.
It was like it's meant to be, and it's a crazy time to be here, and then it's legalized. Like you can actually grow your own smokes too. Like
Right.
Smoke bars, like it's.
I know, like even going to like just to go into the dispensary is crazy, or like
Delivery.
weed maps is crazy.
Yeah, you go on weed maps, you know, like that's what's crazy about traveling through California is like you can go to San Diego and be like, oh man, I got no weed. Let me hop on weed maps.
Exactly.
Find a local delivery service or a dispensary.
Bring it right.
Next thing you know,
Not
next thing you know, we're feeling irie again.
You know? It's like timing for an artist because like you're in the zone and you know you only got a little bit left. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, all right, be in 30 minutes. All right, I got 30 minutes for weed left. For real.
Yeah.
It's good to be alive because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Just thinking back, like, man, what is this thing going to be legalized or what's it going to be like normalized?
Yeah.
And
so
like, been here from Texas, but like, even sometimes I'll be like, kind of feeling some type of way, but I'll be forgetting. I'm like, this is not Texas. It's crazy.
Bro, I remember in like 2004, 2005, like what they would call on the West Coast the green rush, you know, when growing was just popping. Everybody was growing, not just the farmers, like your local scumbag was growing weed too, you know?
Everybody.
Like, everyone. So there was great weed and then there was shit weed, you know? It was just everywhere. But it was always like you could just find good weed anywhere. But I remember during those times, like 2004, 2005, we had took some weed back to one of our partners back in Florida. And so in those days, like driving through Texas, because everyone knows that Texas don't play around when it comes to their marijuana laws. Like you get pulled over and they find that on you, you're going to prison for a long time. Right.
Like,
so
no guaranteed ticket.
at that time, we're like almost out of Texas, right? But we're driving through Florida, and I'm looking at my boy like, why the hell did you drive us through Texas?
Out of all the
I'd be
highways.
paranoid, man. Swear.
Bro, I'm sitting there driving, my heart's going boom, 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 boom.
And it's a big ass state, so you gotta like crossing them.
Yeah. It's like 2.5 days. Just driving.
Like, the trip is supposed to be 24 hours.
So, like, long story short, we get to Florida, and I tell you, I've never felt a weight so heavy just be lifted off my shoulder, bro. But here's the catch about that story. My boy doesn't end up taking all of the weed that we came with. So now we're driving back to California with like 5 pounds of weed. And I'm furious, bro. I'm like, yo, you need to hop on. At the time, right, we're like, you need to hop on the phone and like page somebody.
For real.
So he ends up having a cousin who lives in Georgia, right? And he's like, yo, I'll take that from you. And I'm like, dude, now we have to go to Georgia? Let's just dump this weed off the side of the road. Who cares, you know?
Take the L. That's funny.
Man, yeah. So, like, back then we were doing crazy things as far as cannabis goes. And we went to Florida a few times, and man, it was very ballsy. Very ballsy.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta take risks.
Yeah, hey, and we were just young boys trying to chase money, We're just trying to chase money. But it's different when you're from California, because it's like, I don't know what it's like to get locked up for weed. Exactly. I don't even know what it's like to get pulled over and cited for it. Every time I've got pulled over and I had weed, they're like, your ID and your weed's on the trunk of your car. Have a great night.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I being punked right now? Like,
oh my gosh.
I'm waiting for the cop to like let me walk back to my car, and then he's just gonna shoot me or something. Yo, he stole the weed back from us. Pow! But yeah, crazy times, man. Doing all that. But yeah, I've always been
because so growing up in Texas too and moving here, like I really noticed how normal it is here compared to Texas. Cause like my first time going to like the freaking Bidwell Park, like they were sitting in a circle hitting a bong, and I was looking around like, what the fuck? Like all circles hitting the bong, and I was like, yo, this is where I should be at. Like,
oh man,
Texas.
Damn. That's crazy. I can imagine like coming from the islands to Texas, and then from that environment in Texas to Bidwell Park.
Yeah, especially Bidwell Park. Those types of accent. I was like, oh shit, that's what it does.
It's like such a culture shock. You're like,
you know what I'm saying?
Where am I?
What am I doing?
Yeah, what am I doing?
That's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love Chico, man. Chico's off the.
Chico.
Bro, Chico's a very special place because a lot of islanders pass through there, and
hey, no, for real, bro. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what's very cool about Chico is like no matter what island you're from, no matter what language you speak, right? Mm-hmm. Like the island community in Chico is like, yo, you're from the islands? Oh, family. Yeah, we're family. Hey, next thing you know, you're all having like dinner together. You're all cooking out, and so like that's one of the things that I've always loved about Chico is like every time I go there, like I can tap in with the island family and know everything was gonna be good. You know
what I'm saying? You don't even have to ask. Everybody's be like, hey, so do you need this? You know what I'm saying? Anything they're asking.
Yeah.
Like, what do you don't have? For real.
And so that's what's dope about Chico is because that's how I met you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I met you guys. And I'll never forget actually, because I remember B-Folk wrote me, and we were getting ready to play a show. I think we were playing the Bob Marley tribute show.
Yeah.
At the Tackle Box. and I remember you wrote me and you were asking about openers.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I was, because we're Islanders, like, I want to help you out so bad. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I don't think there's any openers. So I was like, yo, I'm going to ask, but also here's the information to the owner of the venue and the dude who's throwing the show. Like, let's see what we can do. And then it was like months had went by. And then we finally connected, dude. And yeah, I was able to make music with you. I made 2 songs with you. For those of you who are watching, we actually have a rhythm that I produced for B-Folk, and the whole song is B-Folk.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, so like when people hear that, they're gonna trip because it's such a different vibe. Like, because I love your guys' music, but like for some reason this is like different. You know what I mean? Because it's like you had to step out of your box, even though you still kept it hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you stepped out of your lane real quick and still went with it, and it flowed, bro.
Right? There you go.
We did that like during the beginning of the pandemic.
Exactly, bro. Because like the last show we did was together with the Tanel show. It's sad. That was my last show we ever did. You know what I'm saying? And then everything shut down pretty much. Like what?
Yeah.
Months after that,
bro. Because remember, we've been talking for a while. We're like, yo, like we're gonna do this, and like let's start planning this. Exactly. And so like we had big goals set, and we were like, yo, I remember, bro. We were standing outside in your driveway. We were like looking up at the sky. We're like, yo, 2020 is about to be our year, bro. Like. I swear on everything, we're just gonna shoot for the sky. Exactly. And then what happens? Boom! The whole world shut down.
Y'all ain't going anywhere. Y'all gonna stay home.
It was like work a little bit more.
That's cool. That's cool. Like that was so crazy because we really like set it up. Like we had that one show, like back to back. After this, make music, drop it. You know what I'm saying? Run with it. Hell no.
Man,
fucking
pandemic came and just show blocked all of us.
That's crazy.
But you know what's crazy is like I've been blessed, super blessed during the entire time, you know, and I know a lot of people who like fell into depression and like things didn't go their way, right. You know, like. And like even myself, like I lost a lot of family during that time, which was crazy, and we all have, you know. But like through it all, man, like through the ups and downs, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm blessed. Music is taking off. Yeah. And you know, and I see everything on your guys' platform is taking off, and it's like it's such a thing of beauty, you know, and it's reassess. It's like you just got to give thanks, man, because even though we were going through that tough time, it's like we all just kept strong and kept pushing forward for our goals, you know?
Went through it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think if we weren't like strong-minded and really pressing towards the things that we want in life, like who knows, you know, maybe we would have failed. But we took the chance and just said, you know what? I don't care what the government says. I'm gonna go play this show in Arizona. I'm gonna go play this show wherever.
No,
you know?
For real. Yeah, y'all already doing out of state. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah.
So shout out to all the musicians and the artists who have been pushing through the whole pandemic and still staying relevant and afloat and you know, just doing your thing. So big ups for sure.
Yeah, and if y'all see this out there, you know what I'm saying? So that was done by the homies. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people was like, "Oh snap, bro! I didn't even know you got that tattoo." Like, yup.
Yeah, dude. The 680 movement tattoo. So yeah, dude.
Got the music video. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out Elevated, and you see what we talk about.
Yo, that video shoot was so fun, man. Like,
bro, we got hella high, bro. We smoked out the back room, like, well,
yeah.
Like, bro, I don't even smoke, but damn, bro. Contact time.
Bro, I busted out those packs of pre-rolls
from the back room to the front door.
I remember your cousin, I handed him one and he goes, do I share this? I was like, no, that's for you. I was like, everybody around here gets their own joint.
Yeah, everybody has their own joint. That's why it was
That
so
was-
smoke.
We don't even want it no more.
We don't even need a fog machine. Like that shit was up in smoke.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that was a fun time. So yeah, if you guys are watching, make sure you guys go check that video out, man. Stream it on all platforms too as well. Definitely give it some spins.
Yes, elevated guys, check it out.
All right, so how did you decide from hip hop to reggae? Like, how did you go back to like the roots?
Okay, so one of the main reasons why like I never really put a reggae project together was I never met a group of musicians or friends, or I just really didn't know anybody who was like, yo, I'm down to play this and I'm down to do it for free and I'm down to like go through the struggles until we can actually
that's hard
get paid, you know? So like, of course I had friends who I jam with and but it was only like a couple months and then they had other things going on, or they're just like, reggae is boring, it's too slow. You know, like I was friends with a lot of like punk rockers and people who played music that was really fast at the time. So I just never really met anyone who I trusted. So that's why I really never just started doing the reggae thing. I stayed in the hip hop lane as a producer. Like I would do features every now and then for my brother. But so anyways, I ended up going to this show that was at Lost on Main. And I want to say it was the Expanders, Ayatera, and the 4-piece band from Guam. So I get there and I'm like, I don't know anybody at this show, but all I knew was I heard of the band Ayatera and I was becoming a fan very quick. So I was like, so check this out. I wasn't even gonna go to the show, bro. I had to convince myself.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I was like, damn, I really want to see Ayatera, you know? And I'm like, when's the next time are they ever gonna come through Chico? Probably never. Right? Because they're like one of the openers, so they're on the ups, you know, but they're just on tour. So I'm like, yo, I really want to go check them because they're in Chico. So I want to say it was like 10 minutes before the show started. I told myself I'm going. So I literally, and I live in Orville. So I drove to Chico and I get there and I end up running into one of my friends named Tito, who's another musician. I didn't even expect him to be there. Right. And so I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm running the fog machine tonight, bro. Right? I'm all, what? I was all, that's lit. He's all, you know, and he's all, yo, I know this dude. He's in a reggae band and he's looking for a drummer, right? And so I as a drummer, I've heard that my entire musical career. I know somebody who's looking for a drummer, and then it just never fucking happens. Like, you know, just goes in and out. I'm like, I know you're not going to contact me, whatever. So I treated this exact same situation like that. Tito's like, I know this dude who has a reggae band. They're locals from Chico. They need a drummer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, tell him hit me up. Right? So, like, we're watching 4-piece band play. They crush it. Their set's over. I go outside to smoke, and I run back into Tito. But this time, he's with the lead singer and keyboard player from Triple. So he's with Greg and Chris Esco. Right? So he's like, yo, remember that dude I was telling you about looking for a drummer? Here he is. And so
right on the spot.
I chopped it up. He's like, he introduced himself to me, told me they've been playing music for a while. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. You know, they're like, so do you play drums? I'm like, yeah. You play reggae? And I was like, I'd love to. I just never played reggae because I never met nobody who was down, you know? Like,
straight up
down. Like, so, and what I meant by down was like, yo, I want to make this a career and I want to go on tour. I want to travel the world and I want to play job music. That's what I want to do, you know? And so I don't know anybody who wants to do that, you know, nor do I trust anybody who says they want to do that. I'm like, you got to prove it, you know? So Greg from Triple, he's telling me about the band history and he's like, told me they had just lost their drummer. He had moved, so the band gave him his blessings, and he moved. And so I was like, yeah, dude, I'll fucking jam with you guys, whatever. Still not believing it. He's like, well, we practice every Wednesday and Thursday and Saturday. I was like, oh, what? Okay, cool. I was like, all right, so you guys practice a lot. I was like, all right, cool. So I show up to the rehearsal, and mind you, I've never played with these guys. I don't know their material. I just know that they play reggae.
Right.
And so I show up, I jam 2 songs with them, and their bass player at the time, David, shout out to David. I love you, bro. But after the second song, he looks over me and he goes, so why aren't you in a band? Right?
Right.
And I tell him, like, because I don't trust anybody who says they're down to play job music. And he's like, you're hired. He's like, you're hired. I was like, oh shit. He's like, because that's what we want to do. They're like, we want to play Red Rocks. That's in Colorado. If anyone who doesn't know, that's like one of the dopest venues that you can play with. A lot of dope names have traveled there, but just the scenery and anyways. So I started going to their practices, and then at the time they were booked out for shows. Like, they had stacked shows, but they had no drummer. So now I come in the picture. I don't know their material, bro. This is how dope they are. They canceled the rest of the year of their shows. They're like, yo, we need to get our drummer up to speed. He needs to learn our material. So, like, we literally have to say no to these shows, right? Commitment. So I told him, I'm like, bro, you don't have to do all that. Like, you guys know your music, finish your stuff off, make your money, and then. But he's like, no, screw that. He's like, we need to get you on board. So, bro, I start jamming with them, and then, man, things just start taking off for reggae, and played a lot of cool shows, met a lot of cool people.
Some big names.
Like, we got to play with artists. Like, I don't know if anyone knows who ALO is, but they sold out Madison Square Garden. And so, like, to be able to play with someone who's sold out Madison Square Garden, I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are, but can I get a picture with you?
Of all these people came to the show.
So I got a picture with the guitar player, bro, from ALO, and I'm like, yo, anyone who asks, like, who is that dude? I'm like, bro, you need to look him up because he's a badass guitar player. That fool sold out Madison Square Garden.
That's validation.
Yeah, man. So, like, I'm jamming with Triple Tree and we're doing our thing. And then and I'm tattooing at the time too. So I end up we have the tattoo bus, right? It's a three artist station. It's pretty much a tattoo shop on a bus.
Nice.
And it's the only legalized mobile tattoo shop in the state of California.
What?
The only. Yeah.
Only. That's crazy.
The only. So we take the bus. We have this cool idea, right? Because now let me talk about tattoo history for a minute.
Yeah.
So tattooing and like the circus, right? Back in those days, were very close families. So because everyone considered like people who were tattooed freaks, right?
Yeah.
So the only way you could really get away with tattooing back in those days was like you were tattooing in the back of a barber shop, where you were like tattooing with people who threw circuses, right? And so we had this idea as artists. We were like, yo, we kind of want to bring that back, like tattooing and like circus, but we want to do it bigger. We want to start doing tattooing and bringing it to the reggae festivals. So we get the tattoo bus as a vendor at Dry Diggings Festival in Placerville. right? And at the time, I was watching the homie Ross De La Ghetto and B. Irie from Ross Rebellion. They had a morning show that they would host on that they still do, that we still do.
Yeah. That's what inspired.
So yeah. I'm giving you guys the history. So I'm friends with them online, and we've never met. We've just been mutual friends through the reggae community. And I'm advertising. I'm going to be at Dry Diggings. Ross De La Ghetto immediately like DMs me, and he's like, "Yo, like, let's link up when you're at Dry Diggings." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's smoke one," And so
that's a must.
We get to Dry Diggings. I got to meet in person Ross De La Ghetto and B. Irie, right? Yeah. So the whole festival, it's a 3-day music festival, and the whole time I'm like slammed, just tattooing, just. So I never got to hang out with Ross De La Ghetto and B. Irie because I was so slammed.
Oh, bro.
Right? So we start chopping it up online, like, damn, that's a bummer we didn't get to hang out. Like, we definitely got to plan something. And then fast forward a few months later, I finally link up with B-Folk, right? Right. And I'm like, yo, I have this song idea of this reggae tune that most of you know called Sweat. Right? And I was like, yo, but I want to flip it in like this R&B style and then just have you spit verses on it, And so we dropped the song Sweat.
Yes.
Right? Sweat finally comes out. Wizz Fiyah featuring B-Folk Music. The first song we did together. Right? So that song comes out, and then Ross De La Ghetto goes on and starts the Wake and Bake show. And he's telling the viewers, he's like, yo, our boy Wizz Fiyah just dropped a new single. Here it is, featuring B-Folk Music 680. It's called Sweat. He spins the tune. After the Wake and Bake, Ross De La Ghetto calls me, and he's asking me, he's like telling me, he's like, yo, that was dope, man. I dug it, and I was like, man, thank you. So he started asking me like who produced it, like where'd I record and all this stuff. And then he starts letting me know that because at the time Ross Rebellion was just a 2-piece. It was just Ross De La Ghetto on percussion and B. Irie playing guitar. So they did a lot of acoustic shows. So I knew they were doing music. And so he hits me up and he's asking about the song, and we're conversating, and he's like, yeah, we want to put together some songs. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. Like I immediately cut him off, and I'm like, yo, I'll help you guys. Let's fucking record this, dude. Let's get it out.
I remember you mentioning that as you started working with them. Like, oh, man.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up getting involved with Ross Rebellion. So I started helping out. We record a couple songs, and then it was like COVID happened, and then so I had all this money from tattooing, right? I just had all this money, and I'm like, dude, I don't have to work because the government shut us down. Like, let's get an Airbnb in South Lake Tahoe. Right? So we go get this dope ass mansion in fucking Tahoe. And I call up B. Irie and Ross De La Ghetto, and I'm like, hey, we got this fucking house in Tahoe. We're here for the weekend. How about you boys ride up and let's record some music? And that's when we started. That was the birth of Reggae University freshman year, our EP. Yeah, that's right there. Yeah, so, and we're also giving away to all the contestants and all the students. So yes, I big up. Yeah, so that's what birthed that project, man. And ever since then, like, we've just been making music and doing our thing.
Oh yeah, shout out to the team.
And everything seems to be taking off, and I appreciate everyone who believes in us and has been following us and supporting us, because, man, seriously, like we couldn't have done a lot of things that we have done if it wasn't for like the viewers and the followers and the people who like donated to us and actually like support our craft, and respect our craft. And so we really owe it to I still feel weird when I call them fans. They're more of friends,
Yeah.
and family. But
Yeah.
I feel very honored and blessed for someone to like donate because they believe that
Right.
I can further this music.
The dream.
Yeah, so that's how
Such a
Ross
beautiful stuff,
Rebellion
man.
kind of came full circle, and then I just decided, you know what, like I want to keep help pushing the the goal because we all have the same goal and we all want to travel and pretty much play music for everyone that we can, all across the lands and the islands,
Spread the
so
music, exactly.
yeah. So that's the goal, and we just been kind of doing our thing, playing music, and like I said, COVID happened, and we just been grinding it out tough, playing like these underground shows and like festivals that have been popping up out of nowhere, and people just like believing it. Man, it's been awesome, man. Like I said earlier, during the pandemic, like I just been blessed the entire time.
Like, it's actually been a very productive time off.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I remember going into stores, and people asking me like, "Oh, is the shop open?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's still shut down, man." They're like, "Oh, it must be nice, like enjoying vacation." I'm like, "Bro, like you're working, and you're making money right now, bro. Like, and I'm lucky, bro. I haven't worked in 6 months, like." But like, through the grace of God, man, we've been afloat and we've been blessed. And man, I owe it all to the sky,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
man.
really been a
Above
blessing.
all.
It's crazy, and it's crazy how we met because like I grew up on reggae too, right? But
Yeah.
I had to choose hip hop to kind of make my own name and make my own lane. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Because I
right.
come from a family of music too, so it's like I was like, okay, how do I make my name? That's why I had to kind of like create default music to kind of like be my stage name or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it went from there, and then we linked up, and I was like, damn, this is what I've been missing. Like, you know what I'm saying? The full band, like, you took me to the studio one time, Triple Tree studio one time, and we jammed, we recorded, and that shit, and I was like, this is where it's at, because we kind of did that live little rehearsal to it. I was like, oh man, no better feeling than like all the live instruments.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, if there's ever an opportunity like where like we can do music together, like with the band and you and Keeks, like let us learn your set, dude, and play it live.
That's why I was like, hey, bro, let's do that little concert here at Chico. It's like all the fams are out here now, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're trying to have a good time. Like, I was like, all right, I'll talk to some people and we'll see if we can do like a little community festival concert or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody be cooking too, so y'all can sell plates if you want to.
Yeah, man. Everyone can sell mixed plates and everything. Man.
But
yeah, we definitely gotta do something like that because that would be crucial.
Yeah, this past weekend I was like, and even like when I sat in at the rehearsal of one time at your house, I was like mind blown. I was like, man, y'all are dope. Rash Rebellion hella dope. And just to be in that, feel that energy, I was like, bro, I'm like VIP right now. Like, I'm all special. It's like shit.
You literally got to like, and so like, for the people who are watching who are not in a band and like don't know what goes on like behind practice and rehearsals, like Bifo got to sit in and like really see like us trying to craft our set, and like really get it down, because when we perform, we want to perform like our very best. When we're rehearsing, like exchanging ideas, oh, let's do a breakdown here, let's do an intro here, Like, you know, those are all steps into to really creating an experience, and you know, for the show. And that's what we want to do. When we play for you, we want to create an experience that you know you'll never forget. You'll always remember us when you see us, you know, and that's the impact that we want. And most important, you know, is spreading Jaw's music and his word, you know, through reggae. But that's most importantly. But you'll never forget. Yeah, you'll never forget. You're like, man, those guys.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
They changed my mind, you know, on a few things, man.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, you just hear a song that we play, or just, you know, there's a kid in the crowd who's learning how to play guitar, and he sees a breakdown, and one of our guitar players just doing a solo, and he just inspired by that solo, you know, like, man,
so many
one day I'm gonna crush like that, you know.
Exactly. Oh, they see you on the drums killing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't even know the story about Wizz's hand. You know what I'm saying? And he plays the drums, so that's a blow my mind. Like,
yes, I played the drums. Like, you know, I was a tattoo artist,
bro. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So for everyone who's watching,
and he's a chef, so
I had like a bad knife accident, and I had cut off these 4 fingers on my right hand, and crazy. So I was slicing, and I was doing it. It was on the fly, so like I had to do it like that real quick. So I was like, oh man, I need these cuts. So I went to make 2 steaks, right? And I went to slice, and I hit the bone on the inside. And so when I hit the bone, I had a brand new Japanese shun knife, which is like one of the dopest chef knives you could have, right? So this thing is brand new, just came from Japan. It's sharp, right? And it should stay that way for like at least the next 8 to 9 months before I have to resharpen it, right? So it's brand new, and I'm like, boom, boom. I hit that bone, and my hand literally rides the blade. And as I'm in the chop motion, because I'm slicing down towards the cutting board, my hand rides the blade, and I don't even feel it. And I go down in the chop, and it pushes the blade right through my fingers. Boom. Right? Next thing I know, I hear my knife drop and hit the floor. So I'm like, I look down, I'm like, why did I drop my knife? You know, like, how did I do that? And then like I noticed that blood's like, there's just blood. Right? I looked back up at the cutting board, and there's my fingers. I'm like, oh no, bro. Bro, I grabbed my fingers, I put them in my hand, right? And like I had this finger was still attached, but like barely. So like I literally put my fingers right here. I take this finger and I close my hand, and I wrap my hand in a towel, right? I look over at my head chef and go, I'll be back. Bro, I drove to the ER.
You drove yourself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the whole time I'm leaking, bro. And I'm like watching this towel, just like, it was a yellow towel, right? And I'm watching it slowly just get full of red, right? And I'm driving, and I'm like, man, I'm bleeding pretty bad. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't think I could die from this. You know, like, I'm tripping. So, funny story is, I get to the ER, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I have a roach in my ashtray. I reached down, grabbed the roach. It was like 2 puffs, bro. Light it up, put it out. And I go into the ER, and I'm like, yo, I just cut my fingers off.
For real. They're like, what?
They immediately pulled me in the back, like hooked me up, and then yeah.
That's crazy.
So long story short, like so now I'm in recovery, right? The doctor did great, by the way. Like he said, I should have never been able to close my hand. Like my hand should be like that. I looked at the doctor. I was all, you mean my hand's gonna be an ice cream scoop for the rest of my life? Like I could literally just take the ice cream and go like this. So yeah, the doctor's telling me, he's like, yo, he's all, you cut your hand pretty bad. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you cut the main nerve in this finger. So that for those of you who don't know, the main nerve in this finger controls all the bend in all your fingers. So like you can like that you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like when I go like this, I can't. That's as far as I can go down. Same with my middle finger. See, it doesn't bend. It stays straight. So that main nerve controls all the bend. So he's telling me, he's like, you'll never be able to like really bend your hand, close it. And so as he's telling me this, right, my hand's wrapped like I damn near broke my arm. Right? I'm like, what the hell's going on? Right? He's telling me all this. He's like, yeah, your hand's gonna be screwed for the rest of your life.
Damn.
And you know how we're raised, right? So I'm always like, I don't know what you think you're saying, but I serve a higher power. So as he's saying this, he's like, you'll never be able to move your hand. My hand's wrapped in a cast, right? I go like this with my hand. I do that, and I'm like, you're full of shit. I just moved it. All right? I'm like, there's no way, dude. I do everything with my hand. I draw. I write music. I play music with my right hand. I'm right-handed. Damn it. Yeah, so then I did like 2 months of physical therapy, and the physical therapist, she's telling me, she's like, there's really nothing we can do. You know, your hand's like really permanently damaged.
Wow.
And so I was prescribed like 6 months of physical therapy, and I was like 2 months in. And when she's telling me this, and I was like, so if that's the case, then I'll never see you again. Thank you. And so like literally like I feel like I can move my hand pretty damn, you know, I can do this. Right? I can shake your hand.
Nobody would know.
You know, I can't pull the trigger, you know, I can't do that. I can't do that all the way. But I can still click the mouse on the laptop, you know. So yeah. Christopher says, or a rice scoop.
That's good, like musubi size.
Yeah. So yeah, man. But long story short, here I am.
It's crazy. You know? When he told me that, I was like, bro, that is my then he told me one time he was drumming, and then like the drumstick would just slip out when he first. Yeah. So like, here's an insight. So for anyone whoever catches me play live, if you watch me the entire time, you'll see me drop my lead stick is my right hand. You'll see me drop it at least twice. I guarantee twice. But when you're listening, you'll never know that I did. Like I'm that quick, eh? Bro, because you know I got my sticks right here, like my bag of sticks. So like when I'm playing, if I'm playing and I feel it just drop, I immediately reach down, boom, and I pick up another stick, and I'm right back at it. Hey, that's a better move right there.
Yeah. That comes with practice too, you know. So like, you know what's crazy is like I like had to, when I was like trying to write or draw when I was still healing, man, those stages sucked, man, because I was like,
I bet.
Yo, this is I'm literally have to retrain my hand, like how to hold a pen so it's still, you know, because you got to remember, like, especially when you're holding a tattoo machine, when your finger bends, like you really have a good grip on your machine. But I'm literally using the knuckle right here to squeeze. So like when I'm using a pen, like I can't squeeze, right? So I'm squeezing with that knuckle.
The other way?
Yeah. So like I write like that now, and I tattoo like that. Versus before, you know, like your hand would be like this pretty much, but I could bend and hold it really tight, but I can't because I can't bend my fingers, so I hold it like that.
That's crazy.
Like that, yeah.
That's how you like have more control.
You would have never known, man.
And so like, so that's how I hold a pen in the tattoo machine, right? And then I close my hand. That's how I hold my drumstick.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So same way.
Right, because that's where you have like a better grip on that part.
Yeah.
I know when you told me that, I was like, wait, what? What the fuck? The whole time, bitch, like, I was like, bro, we never even would have known. Like, anybody with their finger would probably never, like, was that motivated to come back and put stuff and tattoo for a living, too. Like, he didn't just do this shit for fun. Like, did it, like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, so, like, I worked with some pretty cool and, like, badass, like, executive chefs in my culinary career. And so, like,
give us a backstory on that.
Yeah, and so everyone who I worked for after that, they hear that story and they're like, bro, did you really cut off all your fingers? And I'm like, yeah. I tell them the story, right? And they're like, you know, in the kitchen, like, it takes a lot to, like, be considered a badass chef, you know? But, like, so my boss now, he's telling me, he's like, I knew you were a fucking badass.
So you got a Rambo story.
I was all, dude, you know, because, like, I really care about what I do, you know? So, like, when I'm in the kitchen, I really care. So, like, I literally wrapped my hand up and looked over at my boss. I was like, I'll be back. I didn't, like, he knew what happened. He just seen what happened. I was like, yo, I'm up. I'll be back. Well, I'm gonna go get these put back on real quick. And,
For real.
yeah, literally, I thought all they were gonna do was just stitch it back on. I didn't know I was gonna have to go through surgery, right? So what they did in surgery was, because this was cut right here, so my finger was like dangling, right? So they cut me right here. They put the tendon and the nerve back together, and then they had to pull it back into place.
Whoa.
So they pulled it back into place, and then that's what made my hand curl. Right?
That's
so,
why you said like ice cream scoop.
That's why they wrapped my hand like that and my whole arm. Like my hand was like this for like 9 months, bro. Yeah, so I was like, but yeah, it was crazy, man.
Damn.
G shit.
That's also proof, like, you know, the mind and the body is a powerful thing. You know?
Yeah, it's true, man. Because, you know, a lot of people are like, man, you didn't pass out. You didn't. Because, man, if I would have seen that blood, I would have immediately fainted.
That or the white would be looking like.
Yeah. I was telling my mom, it's because you're weak. That's why no one will remember your name. Jokes.
And you drove yourself.
I don't know. And
to the hospital.
Yes.
And you had a moment to be like,
wait, I remember that blood from this morning.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, before I go in here and be here for a minute.
Right. Opportunity. And all the you know, the doctors are telling you otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was crazy. So to add on to that story, right? So the doctors complete surgery. They're pulling the oxygen tube out of my throat, right? They say as it's coming up, I'm still passed out. They said I gagged on it and vomited, right? And then the vomit went into my lungs.
Oh, shit.
Right? So here's where I almost died. Yeah. So as I'm in recovery, he's telling me this. He's like, I'm like, I think I was like 25 at the time, like 25, 26. So it's over 10 years ago. And so he's telling me all this. He's like, yeah, so you vomited and it went into your lungs. Like, luckily you're still young, so your immune system can fight it. But we're gonna have to keep you here and monitor you to make sure that you don't die.
Observation.
Right? So I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm looking at my hand, I'm like, oh man, how long am I gonna be in here? He's like, for like 4 or 5 days. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I'm thinking, I told my boss I'll be right back.
What the fuck?
Right? I'm still thinking about work. I'm like, oh damn, I gotta go to work, dude. They're probably busy as hell right now.
Right.
And literally they're short-handed.
Oh, damn. That's a crazy story, man. But
yeah, man. And then through all of
Body
that
and mind.
experience, you know, like I was like, yo, this is not going to stop me from pursuing music. This is not going to stop me from continuing to be an artist. It's not going to stop me at all. So like, you know, people were like, oh man, too bad you can't bend your fingers like that. I'm like, dude, I'm so blessed. Like, I don't even need my hand really. Like, I can hold a drumstick with my elbow, you know.
That's funny.
I just need to practice.
You know what I'm saying? Catch some shows.
Yeah. So still pushing forward, and life's good. The hand's good, you know.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, like,
Matt, so when you were working with, or you know, when you first started working with both, you said you had your twins.
Yeah.
So how many kids do you have now? And
So
tell us a little bit about your family, because you've been doing family while doing all these hustles, and it's so inspiring.
Yeah. So I had the twins when I became a dad at 23, dude. So very young. So it was crazy because the night before me and my brother, we had just played the West Coast Hash Bash, right? So it was another cannabis event, and my wife at the time, she was pregnant with the twins, and we had her come out. So the twins were there live and direct at the show. Nice. And then the very next morning, because we had a scheduled C-section, right? So we had after we had the show the night before, we came back to Orville, and I think our check-in was at like 7 a.m. We checked in, and then by like 9 o'clock, I was a brand new father of twins, dude. Like, bro, I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, most people just have a kid, you know? Yeah. Like, I just got 2 out of nowhere. So I'm sitting there in the rocking chair, right? And I'm holding both of them like this. And like, so everything's starting to, like, the whole pregnancy, it never hit me like, I'm going to be a dad, you know? And then so like about an hour or two into like looking at the kids, I'm just like, man, I'm a dad, you know? Like, what? This is crazy. And then, next thing you know, we popped out 2 more. Father of 4, you know, a single father of 4 now. Got my kids full time. Hey. And like I said, life couldn't be much better, man. Like, you know, I got my kids with me. They're here to experience some of the musical journeys. I just took my oldest son, who's one of the twins, Ezekiel. I got to take him to Viva Arizona Art Music Fest. Nice. And man, you know, I had a blast out there playing music with my brothers in the band, and being able to share that experience with my son, you know. Like, and he's walking around the festival the whole time with his ukulele. Hey. And so and this is all new to him. So like he's starting to meet all these artists, and like everyone's like, oh, what, you play the ukulele? That's cool, man. Like, keep pressing forward, you know, like you're not far from the big stage. Hey, right. You know, and so like it really inspired my son. So their birthday had just passed, and so I bought him his first acoustic guitar. And man, he's coming along. He's playing all this crazy stuff. But the other day, I walked in and he's playing this. It's crazy because he's like doing his own swag on it, you know. But he's playing this Chris Brown song, bro. And I'm like, "Are you playing Chris Brown on the guitar?" Like, I'm like, "Damn, when can we record?"
I need to run it.
Yeah,
hey, that's So
my kids, man, they're crazy.
Yeah, when I sat in at the rehearsal too, I noticed that they're really picking up. You know what I'm saying? That's really good, bro. Like to have, you know what I'm saying, their pops firsthand. They're, you know what I'm saying, inspiring them and motivating them and providing.
You know, I just trying to introduce him to what dad loves. You know, like I tell them, like, just like my mom told me, you guys can do whatever, but I really mean it. You know, I'm like, you guys can do whatever. You guys want to play sports? Play sports. You want to, you know, you want to start taking college courses? Let's get some college courses going on, you know. But they see us and they're really inspired by it, you know, and all the music that I listen to, they listen to all those artists and they're just like, man, I want to play reggae music, Dad.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm like, well, that's awesome, you know.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I ever wanted.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I told my oldest son, because you know, I want to say like maybe a year ago, he's like, yo, Dad, can I play your guitar? And I'm like, dude, do you know how much my guitar costs? You know, I'm like, I tell you what, no, you can't play my guitar. But if you learn how to play that ukulele, I might consider it, because then I know you're serious. You know,
Right.
This fool learns how to play the ukulele. I'm like, oh man, this fool really wants to play my guitar. I never let him play my guitar. I bought him his own.
Right, you know what? You
I was like, you know what?
So it's worth the money you're spending. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's a good parent technique right there. Little tip.
So I had to tell him, I'm like, yo, this guitar is not a toy. Like, I spent my weed money on this.
Something had to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
Zip it out good.
So let's just say Daddy's not smoking for like 3 months.
I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
But so I had to explain to him, like, you know, this is not a toy. I don't want to see it like laying around. When you're done playing with it, it goes right back in that case. Right back in that case, dude. If I catch it's laying around, you already know.
It's just behind down.
You're gonna catch that island parent whooping.
That's what's up. That you carry that, you know what I'm saying, to this day, because shoot, like a lot of parents are letting the kids take control, and then it's getting crazy. But
yeah, it's crazy.
The day is all love, so ain't nothing to it.
Yeah, it's all about, you know. I don't know how to be the world's greatest parent. You know, I know I'm gonna teach my kids right from wrong, and exactly. You know, I don't hide nothing from my kids. My kids know what Dad's about, and I just keep it real with them. They keep it real with me, and damn it, it's worked out. My kids are like some of the greatest kids that, you know, that I know, and they just happen to be my kids. You know,
you got lucky.
I'm like, wow, man. You know, and everyone's always like, man, you know, like I'll go in the store, and the cashier will say, like, man, you did a great job, Dad. I'm like, what you mean? They're like, your kids ain't said nothing.
Or are they walking up to the counter?
Yeah.
With their stuff.
They're like, they don't ask for anything either, huh? And I'm like, not really. And I'm like, and I never told them not to. I never told them, hey, when we go in the store, you guys shut the hell up. You know what I'm saying? I don't tell them that. They just know, hey, don't make me look like a fool in public, man.
They know Dad ain't playing. Like,
yeah, Dad's not playing, you know. But you know, as long as you set the ground rules for the children, and you let them know you're not playing, man, they'll be great kids, you know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It helps them in the future too, discipline. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a major part of growing up, is being disciplined.
Because it's crazy to see, you know, you'll see kids like just run all over their parents and disrespect them, and you know, coming from the islands, like, you know, we know better, you know, like that's.
Yeah, but I see it out here in the stores, and I'm like, man, Island moms would have been whooped that ass.
Yeah, I'm like,
everybody in the store would have known. Oh,
bro, I remember I was living at an apartment when my kid, so the twins were like maybe 4 or 5 years old, right? And I'm out in the front and I'm sweeping. It's during fall, so I'm sweeping all the leaves off my walkway, right? And there's the local kids that live close by. They're all playing around, and my son Ezekiel, he's standing in the window. I have the window open because I'm blasting reggae, you know. He's looking out the window, and I watch this kid come up to my son. He's like, "Come play outside." right? And my son goes, I can't. My dad said I can't. And then the kid goes, I hear him tell Ezekiel, he goes, you don't have to listen to your dad.
What?
Right? Bro, I I walked up to this kid like he was a grown man, bro.
You better get your ass.
This kid was probably like 7, 8. I said, hey, you little mother. You know? I was like, I don't know who you think you are, but you better get out of here, you know, because I'll fuck you up.
Hey.
And he's like, I'm going to go tell my dad. I was going to tell your dad, and I'll fuck him up too. Tell him come back. I'm gonna tell him why I messed you up, and then I'm gonna mess him up for raising a sorry ass kid. Jokes, guys. Like,
very much needed.
Yeah, I have a dark sense of humor.
Island comedy for real.
Yeah, island comedy.
No, hey, but that's
man.
good because like you gotta keep those because there's a lot of those, especially out here. You know, where it's like everybody's doing their own individual thing. They don't carry like the culture or tradition that we have from the islands.
Right,
You know,
and that's important. You know, like even though like I was raised here in the States, I know my culture and I know how we're raised, and
exactly.
I truly believe that we should carry those traditions, you know, like, and my kids, they understand it and they get it. And then when they get my age, you know, if they have children,
You're gonna pass it on.
they'll pass that on too. I know they'll have great kids just because they already know.
Yeah.
They're like, damn, they might do it different how mom and dad did, you know, they might do it how me and their mom do it, but you know, I'm still thankful for having great kids, man, because you know, and moms does a great job too, you know. So shout out to moms.
To moms.
Yeah. Mickey, if you're watching.
Kids, funny.
Yeah.
So you guys have a show coming up. Can you tell us about your upcoming events and projects?
Yeah, definitely. So this weekend in San Juan Bautista, we're playing with the Expendables, who's based out of Santa Cruz. They're headlining the show, and we're also playing with the Rudians, Dub Soldier, and a bunch of different artists. So that's going down this Father's Day in San Juan Bautista. And then we got a few more things coming up. Oregon's on the calendar.
Ooh, shout out to Oregon. Shout out to the fans out there. Make sure you pull up.
Oregon.
Definitely we're posting all the flyers. So
yeah.
See Wizz out there. Pull up on them. All the good smoke too.
Yeah, definitely. All the Oregon family, contact me, man. We'll be out there.
Bring the good smoke.
Yeah, definitely. Wear your 680 shirt so I know who you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If I see anybody at a show that's wearing a 680 shirt, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna give them an all access pass. Yo, come kick it.
Backstage.
Yeah. So we got Oregon on the calendar, and we're going back to Arizona later on this year for the Copa Arizona Festival.
Nice.
Montana's in the work, so like we should be out that way. But yeah, so a lot of cool things happening, and then I'm playing another festival locally out here, Klamath Falls, Klamath River, with Triple Tree, and that's a 3-day music festival. I think we're playing on a Saturday. Yeah, so we're playing with a bunch of different artists from all over. We're playing with some DJs, so some well-known DJs. But yeah, I haven't got the full lineup, but yeah, definitely just if you follow me on all social medias, you'll be updated and you'll get to know what's going down with Wizz and,
yes, sir.
and all the projects that I'm working with. But yeah, we're working on some new material with Ross Rebellion, just writing new songs. We're working on a new EP. But as of right now, you can go on all digital platforms and find our music. You can go on all the streaming services and stream us. You just type in Ross Rebellion and you'll find us. Also, my other band, Triple Tree, same thing. You can find us on all streams, all digital platforms. Yeah, just stay tuned, and we got some things coming. Of course, I'm I got a song that we're wrapping up with B folk music. That's going to be coming out. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and more music to come too. And I got some beats in the work for Keeks as well.
Hey.
So y'all look out for those too.
Yes.
The show. Possibly,
you.
you know what I'm saying?
I'll be
We'll
humbled.
try to do a show together. So for everybody who's tuned in, we'll definitely let y'all know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So like we did the show this weekend and we met other people that knows Wiz and that knows Rash Rebellion.
Yes, shout out to Amanda
So
from
like, oh,
Vibes
snap.
and Smiles.
Nice.
DJ
Shout out
Cosmo.
to Amanda.
DJ Cosmo.
You know what I'm
DJ
saying?
Cosmo. Yo, funny thing about Cosmo, right? Our last show. So like we're setting up. I finally get set up. We're running sound check and our headsets and everything, and I hear Cosmo go, "Wiz," right? And I thought I heard someone. So I'm wearing headphones. I look over and I'm like, "Oh, yeah. It's Cosmo, right?" I was like, "What's up, bro?" And I just see his hand like this, right? Because he's down there. And I'm like, "Oh, what's in his hand?" I look, and it's a bunch of mushrooms, right? I'm all,
shit.
oh, damn. Our set's 45 minutes. That's usually how long it usually. That's how long it usually takes to kick in, right? I'm all, fuck it. I reach in his hand.
That moment.
Yeah. So shout out to DJ Cosmo.
Hey, shout out to DJ.
You know?
Keeping it lit.
Sure.
And so he'll be DJing at our show this weekend. He'll be keeping the vibes going in between all the bands.
Hey, we definitely
And
got.
he'll be setting the vibes right before the show starts. So
Hey,
yeah,
he was
shout out
setting
to
the
DJ
vibe right
Cosmo.
up there in San Mateo.
Yes.
It was
For
playing
real.
some island reggae and like everybody was vibing to it.
Yes. And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
had a set with Just Us.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
shout out
just-
Oh, really?
Shout out to
Justice.
Justice.
Nice. That's
to the
dope.
homies. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely like link it up all the way to Monterey. So like hip hop
man.
festival coming soon. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Nah, for real. We'll make something happen. Yeah, because it was crazy. I was like, all right, let's tap in, start just collaborate. Because I was like, damn, everybody know each other. Like even the Showbox, another like video.
Elijah, Show Enough.
Show enough.
Oh, yeah.
Showbox. Yeah, I think
The Music Box
the music
Show.
box.
Music box show.
So like there was like a lot of people out there because like I guess everybody's been indoors this whole time, so it was great to come out.
Yeah, I bet.
And as soon as I seen DJ Cosmo, I was like, "Hey, Ras Delegado told me you family." Like automatically, he was like, "Already, bro, you already know." Let's take a picture. Like we even spoke to Joy like during the show, like before Fiyah came on. We went to the restroom and like it was all artist pass or whatever back there. And we were like, fuck it, I was go back and smoke this weed. Like they were watching us in the front stage, like all the security guards.
Yeah.
So we ended up smoking the joint in the back over there. I was like, bro, we gotta do some more of this. It's been a minute, like shit. It's been a minute
I bet, man.
Networking and doing shows.
Like I remember the first show that we played for a crowd, like right when everything started getting back to normal, right?
Yeah.
So just that feeling of like, oh my God, dude, like we're up here on stage and there's people like really in front of us. like because during the pandemic we played the Vibe and Smiles live streams, you know. So we played both of Amanda's reggae festivals that she threw, and which was really dope. But it was weird at the same time because it's like we know people are watching, but they're online.
Yeah.
You know, like
so the energy is not being reciprocated.
So, right. So like we're just trying to crush, you know, for a room full of nobody, but the camera crew, you know. You know, so it was weird, but yeah, performing on stage again in front of a real crowd, man, it was such a wonderful feeling, wasn't it?
It's like it's a whole different high.
It's spark to what's yet to come, man.
Yeah. It's like I don't know, it almost like it's like what am I trying to say? Like when it goes to as far as your career, it's like, yo, it makes you like you push harder now. You know what I mean?
Double up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta
Yeah.
make up for lost time. That
Yeah, you're like, oh
But it's
man, that
good
was
'cause,
so
like-
dope. I gotta get on this train again because, man, I need that fix.
you know what I'm saying?
You know?
Now it's out there. Now you can go get it. You know what I'm saying? Like they took it away from us, and now they're like, all right, y'all can have a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck it, we're taking the whole thing. Nah, hey, that's what's up. So we'll definitely be back on it. And I'm thankful, bro, to have you in my corner too. It's like you definitely kept me going. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, man.
I would be back and forth in the way, and every time I would be here, I'll hit you up. You come over, we smoke, and we just talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just brainstorm, and then you know what I'm saying. So you kept me going too, like during all that pandemic. You know?
It was crazy during those times too, because like, you know, that's when people were still like still quarantining kind of, you know, so like it wasn't really that busy on the roads, like things was really shut down. So yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, so just being able to like, because I remember I was working, I was still cooking, but the restaurant was closed. We were only doing to-goes.
Right.
Yeah, and so
Same kind of thing, making food, but not seeing anybody.
bro, and that was weird too, you know, like
You're
it's just like
busy as
being
fuck.
on stage playing a live stream, but like you're in the kitchen, you got all these tickets and you're cooking for a building that has no one in it.
Like, damn, we backed up today. Shoot.
Yo, shout out to the Drunken Dumpling, dude.
Yeah,
shout
Yeah,
So if you are in Chico, you know what I'm saying, make sure to go visit. You won't be disappointed.
I love their story because they opened up right at the beginning of the pandemic. Like when everyone closed, they literally just opened their doors and was like, "Oh damn, we're opening our doors, but we're doing to-goes." You know,
Like a perfect time.
and like, and I've, you know, it's sad, but you know, you locally you watch certain restaurants fall off and closed. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
it was a huge blessing to like be a part of the Drunken Dumpling in their story because yo, they literally took a chance, you know, opened their restaurant and thrive through the entire pandemic. And now that things are opening, oh man, it's like
They got
they're
the start.
really crushing it right now. They're really crushing it.
Shout out to them. Shout out to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So shout out to John and Liz from the Drunken Dumpling.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Drunken Dumplings. Make sure if you are in Chico or if you're like, you know what I'm saying, Butte County or Sacramento too, it's not that far of a drive.
Or passing through.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Shout out to my dad. I see my dad's watching.
Hey.
Shout out, Dad. Yep, Larry Myers Sr. I told you guys I was half white.
Yo, shout out to the pops.
Yeah.
Thank you being up.
So my dad turns 83 this Sunday, dude, on Father's
Oh,
Day.
what? Happy
Yeah.
Father's Day and birthday.
Yes,
Yeah. Don't look a day over 60.
Hey, that's what's
Man.
up. What's
But
the
he acts
secret?
but he acts 83. By that I mean, you know, he can't hear, you know.
That's funny. No, that's what's up, bro. You've definitely been on a journey, bro, and I'm glad that we met, you know what I'm saying, during our journeys and just making music, and I'm excited for what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, man. Such an honor to know you guys, man, and to see it, like even from my point, watching you guys on your guys' platform and to see all the things that you guys are doing, not only for your careers but for the island of Palau. You know, it's huge and it inspires me because you know, like everyone knows, like, oh, you got the Samoans, you got Tongans, Hawaiians, and you know the Maoris, but you guys are really like building a super dope platform for the island of Palau and all Palauans that are from there, you know, to further their careers like outside of the islands. Like you don't have to be stuck there. If you want to come to the States and start a business, you can do that. You want to be a musician and travel the world, you can do that, you know. And so it's such a blessing to know what you guys are doing for the people of Palau and the island community in general, man. So big ups to the 680 movement for reals.
Amen.
Salute.
Shout out to you and shout out for making time because, you know,
I know you got
just
kids.
to come on here and share your story and your journey.
Yeah.
And somebody that, you know, we've connected with it's like inspiring to others. Like this is the caliber you can achieve if you really like push through. Like you started at 7 years old.
Yeah.
You started at 7 years old, and then like dedicating that little by little, didn't matter what genre. But you know, when you finally like, this is it, you took it, and you're doing tours, doing shows.
Yeah.
The likes of Bold Thugs, like
yeah.
Guy who sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, shout out to ALO. I know Matt Morrissey was in the building. That's one of his favorite bands. So yeah, man. Doing it big.
Amen. Thank you so much for making time. Is there anything you want to like 3 things you want to leave behind for anybody who's just starting to tap into music, whether it be drumming, recording, music production,
writer?
Yeah. So if you're like trying to learn drums, or if you're someone who wants to be a drummer, my best advice would be practice, and always play with a metronome. Timing is key. So just practice, mold your skill, and I swear, as long as you put God first, your career will blossom. I put that on everything. I'm living testimony of that word. Literally, like, you can do anything you want in this life. If you truly believe it, it can happen. I've done everything that I've wanted to do in life. There's only a handful of things. Like I wanted to become a musician. I wanted to be a tattoo artist. I wanted to be a chef, and I wanted to be a father. I've done all those things.
That's dope.
And so
golden years now.
You can literally do anything you want. If I really believe in manifestation, if you put it out there, once you say it, like, and you believe it, now it's time to make it come to pass. You already said it.
Yeah.
Put it out there. That's why I'm saying, like, one day I will play Red Rocks. One day I will. And it's gonna be a dope show. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. You already picture it, like,
yeah.
Feel it.
It could be 20 years from now, but guess what? We're gonna look back 20. I'm like, hey, remember 20 years ago? I told you.
You did it, yeah.
I told you.
Nah, for real. That's why I love music, because like we're really passionate about it, and it's dope to be around other people that are, have the same passion for it, because. And then we help each other, heal each other, and heal other people through our music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's all from the heart. It's all love.
It's such a good feeling to know, like, when your music can inspire or touch or, just motivate anybody. And it's crazy, It's like, man, I was just making music and writing from the heart, and
you know what I'm saying?
Just making music, man. Like, I appreciate that.
Exactly. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What time is it? But I didn't even realize we went like an hour and 30. Shout out to the people that are still online.
And everybody who's gonna tune in later on, how can they find you on social media before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Wizz Fiyah. You can stream our music, Ross Rebellion, Triple Tree. Look us up on, like I said, on all digital platforms, all streaming platforms. That's where you'll find us. Give us some spins. Download our music. We appreciate it.
Spread the love.
Yeah.
Everybody know.
And shout out to everybody who joined us. We got Toph, we got Larry Myers, we got Trigger Figures, we got Jason Perry, we got Matt, we got Brittany, we got Jacob. So many people showing love and showing out. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Nice. Yeah, man.
And thank you again for your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me. Seriously, it's been a blessing and an honor. And for those of you who are watching, continue to support the 680 movement. TTalks.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.